checking accounts and find out how you can get both. For more information, visit bankeasternct.com, call us at 860-889-7381, or stop by any of our branch locations today. Eastern Connecticut Savings Bank with offices in Norwich, Jewett City, and Plainfield. Member FDIC. Do you, Kasasa?
Hi, I'm Harry, the Tooth Fairy. Or at least I used to be the Tooth Fairy. Business was great. Then people started discovering Griswold Dental. Dr. Norman Katzoff and his staff can do things to help you keep your teeth longer. It's enough to make an old Tooth Fairy cry. Griswold Dental can do all the work in-house. Imagine a new crown in 2 hours. They even know how to make dental anxiety go away. They even have a laser that can help with your gums. Griswold Dental will make you want to smile again. They can restore, clean, and help prevent all those problems that keep me in business. Dr. Katzoff and his staff will make you feel like family. They're friendly and you'll be comfortable. Contact Griswold Dental today and set up an appointment. 860-376-2624. 860-376-2624. Griswold Dental, 87 Slater Avenue, Jewett City. Tell them the Tooth Fairy sent you.
And now, here's something we hope you'll really like.
Online and on the Eastern Connecticut sports leader.
SNSN, your community radio.
Live from Main Street. Mike Minarski and Rich Wasilick in the morning. And 80s all day and night.
SNSN.
Paying tribute today to the longest day of the year. I want to thank you because it's going to be a long day. The summer solstice. Did you know that?
I did know that.
She has no clue.
Nah. What day of the week it is? I'm not.
You have no clue.
No, today's the summer solstice. It's the longest day of the year, which, if you believe in all things pagan, means winter starts after midnight.
Oh. And it's literally all downhill from here.
Yes. Well, and how ironic for me.
I thought we weren't going there.
Well, we can talk about my plight.
All right. So this morning we are going to talk about a subject that we haven't talked about in a long time. Really? We talk about first responder stuff and and classes and different things that you can do to alert yourself and learn yourself of different things. Like you give, how many different classes do you offer yourself personally?
Oh, well, first aid, CPR for lay people, first aid CPR for daycares, BLS, EMR, EMT.
BLS is basic life support, right?
Yeah, it's like nurses and first responders and stuff like that. Let's see. Do some OSHA classes like confined space, hazmat, stuff like that.
Gotcha. We haven't really done anything in a long time when it comes to nursing, in the nursing profession. And you always cough when you're here.
I do, because I'm allergic to this room. It's something that emits from that really
Come over
dusty.
this way a little more. No, the other way.
Is it the fake flowers?
Yes.
There you go.
It's the fake
The
flowers.
fake flowers? You're allergic to
Much
fake
better.
flowers?
Yeah, no, it's that like that.
It's that fake pollen.
No, it's that poppy effect, like in Wizard of
Of
Oz. I saw that on the big screen 2 weeks ago. It was awesome.
Wizard of Oz where?
Over at in Lisbon.
Oh,
It was
that's right. Because they can't get first run movies anymore.
Oh, that hurts.
Yeah, I know.
No, it was the it was for what's her name there? Judy Garland's 100th birthday.
Oh.
It was a limited.
She's still alive?
Katie and I loved it.
Betty
Yeah,
White
she
couldn't
is.
make
Really?
it, but neither could she. So why are we talking about this?
But we should do something to honor Judy Garland's daughter, who I'm a huge fan.
Liza Minnelli?
I love Liza Minnelli. I love her.
I'm not a Liza fan.
Well, then you're not gay. Gays love Liza.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
we are. We're like, she's awesome.
Is she the queen?
She is a queen. So, queen of the queers.
Who, Liza Minnelli?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, she's very good to our people. Our people.
You guys aren't. Being gay isn't a race. Thank you very much, Eliza, for being nice to our peoples.
Our people. Well, we do have our own language. Oh, we don't really. We have our own currency. Oh, we don't have that either. Okay,
Come
so fine, we're not a
on.
race.
It's not like you guys are like the Ewoks or something like that, you know?
Oh, but I've been with some that look like Ewoks. So a big part of the reason why I had to quit drinking.
All right, so the real reason why we're here and you're here today too, see, besides telling jokes, is that you are a nurse by profession. And how long have you been in the nursing field, Lisa Coe?
It'll be 34 years next month.
Okay, and what are your credentials? Like, what kind of job? Where'd you go to school? What's your degree in? You know, or degrees?
Degrees. So, my first degree is in hilarious, but
my first degree is 36. Just a little cold,
No,
but not frozen.
98 degrees forever.
Okay.
Yeah. So I went to St. Joseph College in 1984. I graduated in 1988 with my bachelor's degree in nursing. Back when it was really not like the norm for people to have bachelor's degree. Now you can get one online in like 6 weeks. I think Rich is teaching that, actually. It's a 4-hour class. You have to bring your own pencil. Yeah.
Yeah,
So I got my bachelor's degree in nursing. I did a couple of years in critical care, but
What do you mean critical care?
Worked in the hospital,
Okay.
ICU, step down cardiac. So did my time there, hated the hospital, always wanted to work in long-term care. So in 1990, I started working in long-term care. And that's where I've been for the last 32 years. So, and along the way, I've also been an educator. I've run the largest CNA training program in the state of Connecticut. Well, I started the largest CNA training program in the community college system in the state of Connecticut.
That was at Quinnebog Valley.
And that was at Quinnebog Valley Community College. And that program was adapted to all of the other community colleges in the state. So it's something I'm super proud of. And I have to tell you, if you ever get the opportunity to work for the state of Connecticut, it's not a shabby gig. So actually, in my first incarnation at Villa Maria, which is a skilled nursing home in Plainfield, I worked there for 24 years almost. And concurrent with that, I also worked for 17 years at Quinnebog Community College. So not afraid of work. But so, and then a couple of years ago, I left Villa Maria to look at other opportunities. And about 2 days later, the pandemic hit. And so today is my first day of unemployment since the pandemic. And here we are. So
you've pretty much named the pandemic as being something when it comes to nursing and that business. Now, I know that when my mom was she was a CNA, Sharon, who is my stepmother now.
Yes.
She was an LPN.
Yep.
For close to 40 years. Now, you're right when you said that getting your BSN was kind of like, oh well, not many people were doing it. People were getting their LPNs or their RNs.
Mm-hmm.
That was it, because truth be told, the money was good.
Yeah,
I mean,
it was great.
As an RN, even if you work for MedPool, you went around, back in the 80s, you're making $35 an hour.
Mm-hmm.
It was really, really good money. So there was really not a lot of need to go to, unless you were going to get into administration, perhaps.
Yeah. And I started early on in the ranks in long-term care. I worked as a supervisor, which was probably my favorite work in long-term care because it gave me that bedside nursing as well as a collaboration with physicians and with the with the whole interdisciplinary team.
Mhm.
I was the liaison between the patient and the family, and super rewarding. But I worked in a place that they don't make anymore. Back when, in the olden days, there was a place called the Convalescent Center of Norwich. It was on Crouch Avenue off of Laurel Hill in Norwich. And at the time, it was owned by a husband and wife who were concentration camp survivors, Manny and Adina Stern. And they lived in the Catskills, and they never learned how to drive cars. So they always had a driver that brought them to Norwich a couple of times a week.
Yeah.
And Manny and Adina were the type of people that if they found out that your alarm clock broke and you overslept, the next time they came to Connecticut, they had an alarm clock for you. Not to be snarky, but because they thought they were helping.
Oh.
If you sneezed, Mr. Stern always had a little handful of cough drops. You know, he was always running. They were always helping.
Now they give you a mask.
Yeah.
They would, because they were so afraid of people going hungry. I mean, think of the context of being concentration camp survivors and taking care of the most frail and vulnerable people.
It changes your school of thought.
They would come into the dining rooms when they would come to the Convalescent Center of Norwich, and they would see people maybe not interested in the food they were eating that day. They would immediately go to the chef and tell him never to cook that again and make something else immediately. And they would follow up the next week, and they would go to that person who wasn't maybe interested in their food. These were millionaires back in the 80s. And Mrs. Stern used to hand feed people. And one of the dietary restrictions in the Jewish faith is that they don't eat shellfish. And we had one patient who, she said, what do you want to eat? What's something that you really want to eat? And she said, I would love lobster, just a nice lobster dipped in butter. And here's this person who has never eaten a lobster in her life, came in the next week, and she's cracking open lobster and dipping it in butter and feeding it to this patient. Wow. That's what it used to be like.
See, no, that was care.
That was care.
Yeah, that was care.
That was amazing. So that's what I came up in, and actually worked with Sharon, with your stepmom. I worked with her when I became an assistant director of nursing at the old Waterford Health and Rehab, where
on Spithead
Road, where Michael and Michelle Rose and I were the leaders in that building that opened up the first AIDS unit in the state of Connecticut. And also,
I remember that. I remember also Sharon being really concerned about that as well.
I think everybody was a little concerned back in the day of AIDS, but
they didn't understand it.
I call it my first pandemic. And it was really interesting that for something that at the time was an absolute death sentence, all we were doing back in the early 90s was buying you time. We were not guaranteeing you a long life. We were buying you time. And honestly, the time wasn't good.
It was a death sentence, right?
It was always a death sentence. Yeah. And with the maybe the rare outliers, obviously the big rare outlier at the time was Magic Johnson, who is still thriving as a business mogul today.
Yeah.
Take a look at his net worth.
That was because he could afford his medicine, though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was at the time the AIDS, the AIDS epidemic, then AIDS pandemic, really at the beginning was a disease of poverty. And like so many diseases tend to be heart disease, diabetes. Those are all diseases that are ruled in many ways by poverty. And your outcomes are ruled by poverty. But I don't think that we've ever, and then we had another pandemic that almost took the life of a friend of ours when we had the swine flu pandemic, and we've had SARS, and we've had all of these other pandemics. And then in comes COVID. And this is where the story changes dramatically. The work was always hard. There's always been a shortage, but we've never seen anything as destructive to the industry as the COVID pandemic.
Well, I mean, I know just really growing up that you're right. There was always there were never enough nurses. Never enough nurses. My mother always said, Mike, get into nursing. You'll never be out of work. And if you are, it'll just be before time before you get to the next one.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, yeah, okay. But it just wasn't my thing. Obviously. And then that business created companies like, I don't know if you remember, Staffmates.
Mm-hmm. Staffmates, yes.
Okay, which basically was a privately owned med pool.
Yeah.
And if you were short, you'd call Staffmates or whoever med pool, and they would send you someone at a premium. But also these folks are, they weren't well aware of your facility. If it was especially the first or second time they've been there. So, it's not like their home base or anything. So there's always been some sort of shortage.
Mm-hmm.
We've had other things like H1N1, for example. Why, in the nursing industry, why didn't H1N1 affect that industry much like it has, say, because I know you want to caveat it back, get into COVID?
So for a variety of reasons. First of all, with the H1N1, it wasn't the same type of beast that we're dealing with now. It was not as virulent, which means it wasn't as strong. It was certainly communicable. It was communicable in the same way that COVID is, but it was not as crippling to the industry. We didn't see the massive widespread outbreak that you do with a novel virus. A novel virus is something that's brand new, that doesn't act like anything else that we've ever had to treat. So consequently, you're going to a brand new formula for developing a vaccine. So we had tools in our kit for H1N1, and we had certainly far less of a reach with H1N1. It didn't travel as quickly, and was relatively short-lived.
Short-lived, yeah.
And quite honestly, during H1N1, it was such a non-entity when I was working at Villa Maria, first incarnation, that we never had a case.
Mm-hmm.
We never had a case of it. And so it wasn't as impactful. So now in terms of its impact in the industry, I can tell you that we started to see a rapid decline at that time of the people that I call the old nurses.
Mm-hmm.
And I lump myself as a 34-year nurse. I now find myself to be oftentimes the oldest nurse working in my building, and with 34 years of experience. But I'm the youngest of the old nurses. To give you an example, in my most recent employment, I was just kidding around with two nurses, two exceptional nurses. One is an RN and one is an LPN.
Mm-hmm.
The LPN has dedicated almost as many years to her nursing profession as I've been on this earth. She started as a nurse when I was 5. So you're talking about 50 years of experience.
Mm-hmm.
And we're adding up our years of experience one night, and
I have no idea. Somebody's at the door.
I wonder who's at the door, boys and girls. Let's find out. I
It's
hope
Mr. McFeely.
I was gonna say it's Mr. McFeely. Oh, I'm so excited.
I'm thinking Jim Barney. Let's see.
It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. A beautiful day for a neighbor.
Hola. How are you? You made it. You did. So
So at any rate, nurses started retiring. We called it in the industry our silver tsunami, because all the old nurses were
Is it
leaving.
the hair?
Yeah,
Oh,
silver,
okay.
get it?
Yeah.
So we had this whole wave of nurses retire, and we're not growing nurses
But
quickly enough.
Did they retire because they hit the age? And
They hit the age.
Okay.
They hit the age. And the funny thing about most nurses is even when they retire,
They
it's
still
really
do
it's
it.
hard to leave.
And my
It's so
mother's
hard to leave.
at that point. She just retired last year.
Yeah.
So she's still in the influx of what do I?
So I will definitely get her information,
Yeah.
and I, will definitely, because we could use her. We
All right.
could use
She's
her back
looking
in
for
the-
part-time gigs, I guess. I'll ask.
I
Yeah.
have some really great ideas for
Okay.
part-time gigs right here in this neighborhood.
Ah.
So right up the road.
Okay.
So the other thing that's happened, Mike, is that we're raising a whole new generation of registered nurses who are only registered nurses so that they could take the next step to being APRNs, advanced practice registered nurses. And there's a misconception that this closes the gap in the nursing shortage, but it does not. APRNs do not function as bedside nurses. They do not do anything remotely close to what we do as bedside caregivers. They close gaps in care for physicians. They are doctor extenders. And now with their scope of practice expanding, APRNs are not even doctor extenders. They're going into their own
So
practice.
there's no requirement to be a bedside
No.
nurse for so long, like maybe learn how to be a nurse
Nope.
before you boss them around.
No, you go directly into the APRN program.
So there's a huge gap.
And there's a tremendous gap. And now a lot of this is done online. So now you're also educating a whole bunch of people who have done very little bedside care. I've worked side by side with APRNs who didn't know how to help me boost up a patient in bed. This is basic, simple stuff. I in a facility I worked with a couple of years ago, the APRN's face was fear when somebody threw up. Like, oh my God, hold my coffee.
Nora says, good morning, Lisa.
Good morning.
Good to see you.
Hi.
And wow, okay. First Nora, now Laura.
Nora and Laura.
It says my daughter is currently going to school for BSN. She graduates in May 2023.
Congratulations. Where's she going? Where is she going to school?
Is she going to St. Joe's like the rest of the world?
St. Joseph College, where you can be, well, back in the day, there are 3 great options at St. Joe's. There were always other options. At
St. Joe's also is a first year baseball next year. First year
Yes.
baseball program.
Yes,
Really?
they
Yeah.
do. They
CCSU.
Yep, they do.
She's going to CCSU.
Okay.
Oh, good school. Really good school. Yeah. Tell her to stay at the bedside. It's a really cool place to be. So, not that
Is that like a bed and breakfast or something? The
Yeah.
bedside.
bedside nursing. I use it. I use the term, pretty fondly because it's, I always said that management was the thing I did to support my family. Nursing was the thing that I did to
The
to-
bedside.
to
Route 15,
fill-
Newington.
to fill my soul. So, but
Well, it makes sense because a lot of my experience, a lot of the best care you provide to someone isn't necessarily sticking them with medication, or
Right.
it's the actual bedside manner and how you
Mhm.
talk with them,
It's how you
conversate
talk
with
with
them,
them.
and
so, and it's something that I've loved for so many years, but I've recently had to make the decision myself. I think as so many nurses have, that, with the nursing shortage, the level of the nursing shortage, the way that it has been, we're forced to make very difficult decisions in our personal lives in order to go to work. And it's no longer, a good friend of mine said, this isn't sustainable. This isn't going to be sustainable for you, Lisa. And, you do it for as long as you can. And then it gets to a point where you can't do it anymore. So, because we have lives outside of work, I have a life with a child who is my beautiful Katie, who is 32 years old, who has never been without a caregiver, but is now also without her mother. And I feel like, Katie was collateral damage of the pandemic because not only did my daughter's life change completely, I also kind of orphaned her to go care for others.
And you had to do that because of a nursing shortage.
Because of the nursing shortage, and because I was in management, and because there was no more options. And, the fun thing that they don't prepare you for when you accept that first management position in nursing is that is a secret code for if nobody else shows up, you have no choice. So, which was
they have that in not just nursing. I mean,
and it's not just nursing.
Yeah.
It is everywhere, but not to the level where it is in
retail
nursing.
suffers from that type
but I always say though, in the rest of industry, you don't get to make the widgets. And in this industry, human beings don't get.
You had nurses just not showing up to work because they didn't.
Oh, yeah. We absolutely did, especially at the beginning of the pandemic. I can remember working in a facility at the beginning of the pandemic where my next shift would come in and we'd be telling them at the door that we had a case of COVID, and they would turn around and walk away.
Yeah.
They would turn around and walk away.
That's like abandoning your.
10 years ago or 20 years ago, a nurse or somebody, they wouldn't show up for their shift.
They were dying.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Or they were gone.
Yeah.
No call, no shows. Now it's like, let's talk about it because you can't afford to lose another person.
Yeah. Yeah. And I do see it a lot, I've and it's hard, you look at, nursing assistants who, in my industry in long-term care, nursing assistants do the foundational work of nursing. They shouldn't be called nursing assistants. They should have some vaulted, extraordinary title for the nursing assistants who still show up in a pandemic without staff. There's
some at the CNAs. Is that what they are?
The CNAs.
Yeah? Okay.
The CNAs.
Yeah.
And
that's what my mother was.
And
30 plus
and I'll tell you what, if you want to, you don't fully understand how hard that job is unless you've done that job. And
it's backbreaking work.
It is backbreaking, and I'm glad. Pardon me. I'm glad that I got my start as a CNA to fully understand that.
Yeah.
But even back when I was a CNA. It wasn't anywhere near what these angels of mercy do today. And the selflessness. I see nursing assistants who bring in clothing for the people they care for. They bring in special supplies to provide good care. They donate their time. They come in through every kind of duress. And the numbers are just dwindling. And so I had, I made a decision about 25 days ago, actually, that I couldn't do this anymore at the level that I'm doing it, because I've done it probably longer than most people. Most people don't stay directors.
In my family, I'm so used to it and stuff like that. I'm so used to, exactly what you're talking about. And I think people that do not have anybody in the nursing field within their family or their immediate family don't really know.
Right.
So,
right. So, so I think that, our pandemic definitely knocked out a sector of the population who was afforded a pathway to stay home. We also lost people who maybe if people were planning on retiring during the pandemic was the last straw, and they said, okay, this is a sign. I'm done. Tag me out. And then for those of us who stayed, and I never missed a day, really. I mean, I look at the things that I've done during the pandemic, and I look back on it and they say, holy shit, I did that.
What I think is amazing. You are now transitioning into sports color commentary.
I am. Whoever thought that I would go
She'd come in here and go, yay, sports. She had no idea.
I woke up Monday as a registered nurse, and tomorrow I debut in sports color commentary. Tonight when I go home, by the way, I will be looking up sports color commentary.
That's right.
So
That's right. We hire anybody.
That's right. Apparently,
You got to start somewhere.
well, there is
Exactly.
a radio shortage too.
Yeah, you're not kidding. We're starting coverage tomorrow. Youth sports, it's always that time of year.
Mhm.
You know, with the Little League and the Junior League All Stars. Last year was so much fun. We had people all over the world that were watching the games, and so we're going to start again tomorrow night when Jewett City takes on
Awesome.
Coventry.
Coventry. Huh?
Game time, 8:00 right here on SNSN. So, speaking of baseball,
Got one here?
huh?
You have one here.
What do you mean?
Walked in.
That's true. That's true. We have a gentleman from the Norwich Sea Unicorns.
Can I say something?
No,
Can I say baseball?
been very, very good to me. Oh my God. All right. So Nora does make another comment. I want to read it to you because I know you can't see it. It said, so it isn't nursing, but the story seems the same. We were in a restaurant on Saturday. It turned out to be a quote unquote hostess who seated us, also took our drink orders, food orders.
Mhm.
She and the bartender delivered our meals, which had sat under the lights a bit too long. And when she delivered the bill, told us that 4 servers called out and that she was doing it all. So
It's everywhere.
did we suffer the what do they call it? The rapture? And I didn't even know it because all of a sudden there's nobody to work.
You know what my personal opinion is? When you're paid to stay home, why go to work?
And I think it's really interesting about it, and I think I'm going to find out. And I do have a what's next for Lisa coming up chapter. I do.
Yeah.
But
It's a picture book.
and it's not just sports color commentary, although that will be a big part of it, folks. There's always Plan B, but
She has to think of it though.
I do. I think one of the strangest things, and we all do it from time to time, is when you grow accustomed to working or to living or running your home with a lower income, and you settle into that, it actually opens up opportunities. So I'm thinking that for those people that did stay home during the pandemic, who were no longer seeing, because it's not quite the rapture because nobody's reporting their loved ones missing.
Yeah.
Where's Joe?
Maybe they're just struck from our memories. We didn't even know they ever existed.
Oh, maybe.
Well, it's like, where did they go?
I know
That's the long COVID.
Yeah.
The long COVID.
Well, I know
where
a
they-
lot of people are like, well, I was treated like crap when I worked other places. Now I'm paid to stay home. I can rethink my life. And
Yeah.
That's another subject altogether we
Yeah.
can get into another day.
Yeah.
But we want to go ahead and
moving on.
You need to stay because
Dun, dun, dun.
we're doing something after the show.
We're not done with you.
Why we're not done with you.
My quivering eyebrow.
But we do want to do want to invite Lee Walter into the studio in a moment here. He is the general manager of the Sea Unicorns in Norwich. A lot of exciting things going on at Dodd Stadium, and we're going to talk about that in just a minute right here on SNSN.
You want me to?
Hi, this is Lisa Griffin of Eastern Connecticut Savings Bank. Well, some banks offer checking account rewards, and some banks rebate ATM withdrawal fees. At Eastern, we say, why choose? Check out our Kasasa checking accounts and find out how you can get both. For more information, visit bankeasternct.com, call us at 860-889-7381, or stop by any of our branch locations today. Eastern Connecticut Savings Bank with offices in Norwich, Jewett City, and Plainfield. Member FDIC. Do you, Kasasa?
Hi, Miranda Mahoney here from Grizzle Pride, your local drug prevention coalition. So, marijuana, now legal in Connecticut, but there are some things you really should know. It's only legal for people 21 and older. And always, always secure your cannabis products like edibles, vape pens, dabs, and of course marijuana in a locking storage container and keep it out of sight and of reach of kids. Kids don't know the difference between a THC edible gummy and a candy gummy you might buy at a store. There's many resources available at grizzlepride.org or our Facebook and Instagram pages. And parents, you are your child's greatest influence. Talk early, talk often about the risks of substance use on their developing brains. Check out grizzlepride.org. grizzlepride.org. grizzlepride.org.
Don't just wish for a winning deal, make it Dish, and we'll make it real. Don't just wish, make it Dish. Hey everyone,
This is Ellis Dish from Dish Motors. We're back better than ever with our new sales and service center on Route 32 in North Franklin. Everyone says there's nothing better than dealing with the dishes, and here's why. Selection. We have the area's largest inventory of off-lease, one-owner vehicles of all makes and models. You name it, we got it, or I'll get it for you at no additional charge. Quality. Each vehicle goes through a rigorous 120-point safety and quality check. Nothing leaves the lot without my personal approval. Convenience. We have financing sources for almost any situation. We offer on-site registration processing, and we have maintenance programs for years of stress-free ownership. And now open for all your maintenance needs. Our full-service repair facility, where oil changes start at just $19.99. Call today for your appointment or just stop by. So save thousands and deal with the dishes. Route 32, North Franklin. Or check us out online at dishfranklin.com. Or ring us, 860-383-4750.
Make a dish.
Did you know that Allstate Insurance, the Trahan agency, has 2 offices now, Plainfield and East Lyme? And that's good news for you, since Kevin Trahan has been in the insurance business for well over a quarter of a century. Plus, he's easy to find. Just search in any browser, Kevin Trahan, Allstate Insurance. And when you get to his Facebook page, you'll find tons of helpful information on questions you may not even have thought to ask. Allstate Insurance, Trahan Agency, Plainfield and East Lyme, proud sponsor of Griswold Youth Football.
Hi, my name is Dr. Katina Simmons. I'm the optometrist and the new owner of Griswold Eye Care, formerly the office of Dr. Joel Zuckerbrand. I would like to welcome you and your family to make an appointment today for an eye exam. Even though the name has changed, we are still providing the same family-friendly eye care as Dr. Z. We are located at 8 North Main Street in Jewett City. You can also find Griswold Eye Care on Facebook and send us a message. Don't forget that eye exams correlate to your whole body health too. It's not just new glasses and contacts. So come see me, Dr. Katina Simmons, at the all-new Griswold Eye Care, formerly Dr. Zuckerbrand. Hope to see you soon.
Your community radio.
Live from Main Street. Mike Minarski and Rich Wasilick in the morning. And 80s all day and night.
SNSN.
And good morning. Welcome back to the show, everybody. We are live here on SNSN on multiple platforms, including Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, just to name a few, and also a few in Latvia.
Latvia.
So, for our Latvian fans.
Home of the Christos Kartuplis.
Whatever.
Christos Kartuplis means Christ potato.
Christ potato?
Yes. You have your what is it? The God, it's not the God gene, it's a physics thing.
Rich is like, what? What are you talking about?
Christos Kartuplis is Christ potato. We worship the potato in Latvia. Yes, we are. Yes. I just like to say Christos Kartuplis.
She hasn't had breakfast.
I'm Latvian, so
Yeah? She wants home fries, apparently.
I thought I fell off a stool, hit my head, and woke up somewhere else.
Well, you are somewhere else. Rich is off camera now. He's on the other side. So.
That used to happen to me a lot about 446 days ago.
All right, moving on. We now have a gentleman in the room that we've talked to a few times, basically on his home territory. But now he's here. It's
making me sweat just wearing a sweatshirt.
No,
it is pretty warm in here.
Is that because you have to make weight for baseball?
No,
okay.
no weight restrictions, and the boss doesn't need to make any weight restrictions.
No, the GM doesn't need to make weight.
See, I'm practicing for my color commentary for tomorrow.
All right. So Lee Walter is the general manager and business development manager, right?
No, the business development part went away when the general came in. So the promotion was from business development. Well, let's see. Let's go back through history here.
Sure.
So I started as business development manager. Then I was promoted to director of business development. Then added stadium operations to the title, and now I am the general manager.
So you're running the show, in other words.
Yeah, I mean, with some help, of course. I couldn't do it without our assistant general manager, Heather Bartlett. But it's being the top guy and trying to make it all work right now.
Gotcha. So is the business of baseball tough right now? If you could give us a state of the union address as far as local baseball at Dodge Stadium, how would you start that?
I will say this: the business of baseball in this area has started to improve. We are seeing signs that people are moving past COVID, even though COVID is never going away, and we're going to have to live with it for the rest of our lives.
Neither is the flu, and the flu is going to be here forever.
Exactly.
So
So I think without being a person in the medical field, that we are getting to that point where we are starting to learn to live with it, and we can start to quote unquote get back to more of a normal life. And the sponsorships this year, as we started selling them last fall and through the spring, have been amazing. We couldn't do it without the corporate sponsorships that we receive, and now we're starting to see that ticket sales are picking up. We've had some days that were rough, whether it be a weather related Thursday night where it was raining and attendance wasn't super hot, or this past week graduations in the area certainly kept a lot of people away. But our weekend games have been really good so far. Our home opener, we had 3,000 people in attendance, which was amazing. And now that school is letting out, I think that attendance is going to be really, really good the rest of the summer.
What is the difference, if you could kind of capsulize, what's the difference between AA ball and, as far as baseball, not the quality of play or anything like that, but really from the fandom, aspect, between that and the Summers League, which you're in now?
Sure. So, obviously everybody knows what professional baseball is. They first and foremost know the major leaguers. When the Norwich Navigators and Connecticut Defenders were in town, they were AA, part of the Eastern League, and that typically is where your top prospects are. If a guy does really well in AA, chances are really good that he is at least going to get a few weeks, years, whatever it is at
something
Major
in the
League
majors,
Baseball.
yeah.
So the fan perspective of that is, hey, I want to go see that guy because before he is completely famous, I want to get his autograph. I want to get pictures with him. I want to talk to him. So fan perspective wise, they're definitely going to try to hit AA ballparks quite a bit. Now, the past decade or so, when we were the Connecticut Tigers, we were in the New York Penn League, which is a low-level single A, a lot of guys that are just starting out their careers. So you'd get some decent prospects, but it's all speculation at that point until they actually get out on the field and perform. So, yes, people would still show up looking for autographs. We were fortunate, to have some players over the years that were good prospects. One of them actually just made his Major League debut with the Detroit Tigers. Riley Green was our center fielder for about a month in 2019. And is now playing for the Detroit Tigers. So a lot of people came out to see him when he was there. Now being in a collegiate summer league, so you've got the best known collegiate summer league is Cape Cod. Everybody knows Cape Cod. It's where all the top Division I players go. And then it's a kind of a pecking order after that. And so we're getting guys who play college baseball still have eligibility left. They're still enrolled in school for the following year. And they're coming here to get a lot of at-bats, get a lot of innings pitched, whatever the case may be, and continue their development in hopes of someday signing that professional contract where they can actually get paid to play baseball. And the fans around here are still learning a little bit about that, but I think they're starting to pick up on it. And what we do is we try to get a lot of local guys. I know last week you had a couple of our players on, the Hunter and Bo Jaworski.
Yeah.
Brooklyn kids, both go to Mitchell College. So those are the kind of kids that we like to have a lot of, because then it creates that local connection for the fans. But also, too, to then supplement them with players from around the state or other states that may or may not play within Connecticut in college. So in our league, we have a 40-man roster limit. And at least 15 of those players must have a New England tie, whether that be they are living in New England states or going to school within a New England state. So that gives us a pretty big pool of players to gather to see.
I didn't know there was those kind of restrictions as far as players. I didn't know if you could find somebody in Boise.
We could, as long as we have at least 15 players with a New England tie. Then the rest of our roster is whatever we want to do with it. The other unique thing about our league, as far as roster goes, we're one of maybe 2 leagues like this in the country that actually allow a high school graduating senior who is committed to a college the next year to play. And you're allowed 4 players per roster. And we actually have 4 of those this year. We have 2 guys that are heading to UConn next year. We have a player that is heading to Northeastern next year and a player that is heading to the University of Maryland next year.
Nice.
Yeah.
So
Maybe a Terrapin, huh?
So are these local high school students?
Yes, they're all Connecticut high school players who have graduated from high school now and are getting ready for their first season as college players.
Nice.
Yeah.
You say
anybody super local?
The most local is Griffin Pompriant, who is a NFA graduate who actually was just on the baseball team at Eastern Connecticut State University that won the national championship.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yep.
I know his grandfather.
Do you?
Ken? Is it Ken?
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
actually.
You said you had 3,000 people at Dodd?
On opening night, yes.
Now, I've been to Dodd when there was a farm league,
Mhm.
and there was never 3,000 people there.
You must have been there on a bad night.
Yeah, I must have been because I don't remember there ever being 3,000.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And the fireworks are still the best draw in
Yeah.
baseball. We did fireworks on opening night. It was
That's awesome.
Memorial
We were there
Day.
on first responder night, so it was kind of.
Oh, so that should have been pretty crowded
wasn't
then.
3,000 people.
Was it
That
bad
was-
weather that night? Maybe.
No.
They were all responding.
Maybe.
Mm,
Maybe.
But I mean,
Oh.
so maybe.
They were looking for you too, by the way.
Speaking of first responder night, this Friday
That's
at
this
Dodge
Friday?
Stadium. First responder night
damn,
this
I'm working.
Friday.
Yeah.
So with post game fireworks. So
nice.
Whether it's the Futures League or single, a short season, AA, whatever. One thing that I've noticed, because I've seen them all, is it's a different feel going to, say, Dodge Stadium than it is to go to like a Fenway Park or something. It's there's much. Don't worry about the flies. They are everywhere right now. There's no controlling them.
Well, it's summertime.
Yeah, but they're crazy.
It's the radio station built by Amityville.
Yeah. But the feel is just different, and the entertainment is different as well.
Sure.
So, what kind of things do you do at Dodd, during a Sea Unicorns game to kind of engage? It's a lot more in crowd engagement.
yeah, well, minor league baseball and now the collegiate summer league level is definitely more about engaging the crowd with your on-field in between inning promotions or whatever other entertainment you can provide them. For us, we have several between inning games, and we try to rotate through them. For instance, this year we've added a putt where we just lay out a small practice putting green that you would find in any businessman's office, and we lay that out on the dugout, and we give a young child a chance to sink the putt and win some tickets to a future game, or a bowling game, or we have an inflatable catcher that you throw a strike into, and so you just try to engage the crowd and keep them entertained, because let's face it, I mean, I'm a huge baseball fan, have been my entire life, but the game can be very slow and boring. And so at the minor league level, it's always been about what can you do to engage that fan that keeps them wanting to come back. And the first thing you start with is affordable pricing. I know that the times I go to Fenway Park, I feel like I'm redoing my mortgage in order to be able to afford to go up there. And so, with our ticket prices, we start there. Our concessions prices are low. You could take a family out and you can do it probably for less than the price of one good ticket at Fenway Park. And that's no knock on the Red Sox. I mean, they're paying millions of dollars to the players. They've got to pay them somehow. But for us, it's about getting the fans there, keeping them entertained, wanting them to keep coming back throughout the summer. Yes.
So what kind of things are going on like right now? I also want to ask you later on, but about like the schooners, like you have, you brought them in as well. But let's talk about some things they're going to be happening at Dodd, coming up either now or through the summer. Now you talked about fireworks being this weekend and stuff. What other things are coming up?
Yeah, so like I mentioned, this Friday we have, starting with Thursday night, that's our next home game. It'll be Thirsty Thursday with beer specials and also $1 hot dog night. So
that's what I wanted to hear right there.
And it's funny because we had somebody reach out to us on Facebook last night and said, is every Thursday Thirsty Thursday and $1 dogs? And I'm like, absolutely. We consider that a great party. So, get out there on Thursday night. And,
We're going Thursday.
Have a good amount of beer and good amount of hot dogs for a very low price. And, so we'll start with that on Thursday. Then Friday, First Responders Night, like I mentioned, where we'd like all the first responders to come out and see us. We have special pricing for first responders that evening. We'll finish the night with fireworks. Saturday night, we're home again, and we're set up to have a giveaway. Unfortunately, with shipping delays, we're not sure it's going to get there just yet, but we're hoping. And if not, we will definitely take care of those fans that were expecting to receive that giveaway.
What's the giveaway? Is it a llama?
It's a fanny pack.
Yeah.
We don't give away llamas.
Oh, but you imagine
about unicorns?
No, we don't give away unicorns. Either.
Well, I figured you could
Talk about shipping delays.
Yeah, seriously.
I figured you could take the llama and make it into a highly stylized unicorn.
Oh,
See?
well.
Do you know?
There's a
Look,
thought.
do you
There's
take a
thought.
look? That's a sea unicorn right there on his
I don't
hoodie.
even understand what that is. It's a narwhal, right?
It is a narwhal,
but
yes.
No, it's a sea unicorn.
But a sea unicorn was something different that no one will ever really think
But
about.
the
right?
Norwich narwhals would have made too much sense. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we won't get into that discussion too much. What we will do is we will describe exactly what a sea unicorn is. So the narwhal is known as the unicorn of the sea from when back in the day all the ship captains would travel up north and they'd see this unique creature that wasn't seen anywhere else, and it had this long tusk that it's actually a tooth, by the way.
Yeah.
But it just reminded them of this mystical unicorn creature, so it became known as the unicorn of the sea. But you talk about sea unicorns not really rolling off the tongue. Can you imagine if we were the Norwich unicorns of the sea? Now, how tough would that be to say all the time? So that's why Sea Unicorns was born from that. So yeah, I mean that's but it's a nice nice logo, and people are getting used to the name.
I think it's cool. I think it's really cool.
Yeah.
I said from the very beginning, before I ever met you or anything, there's a guy named Scott Fryer who does a podcast called Baseball, Beer, and the Bronx Baseball and Beer, and we both agree. Sea unicorns, genius marketing.
And
genius.
Well, and let's go back over the last decade or so. What's a yard goat? They had to explain what a yard goat was.
Yeah.
Or now down in
working on the train yard.
Yeah, down in Kannapolis, Maryland too, where it used to be the Intimidators after Dale Earnhardt. They've now changed their name to Cannonballers. Or out in Wichita, Kansas, they're the Wind Surge. This is what minor league baseball became, was get something that's fairly local. And granted, Sea Unicorns are not local to Norwich, but the ship captains who saw the Sea Unicorns were local. Mm-hmm. And that's where our story began. So we worked with a company called Brandiose to help come up with the finalists for the vote and, come up with the logos for them. And what they do is they go out and they engage in the community and figure out what means the most to that community. And for Norwich, it was the old shipping industry. And so therefore, those ship captains went out and again, they saw those unicorns of the sea, and the narwhals, and therefore the Sea Unicorns is a better marketing name.
Absolutely.
Sure.
And the color scheme is just
the
whole thing is genius.
The whole thing is great. And I'll throw out the pitch too, because you're talking about appealing to younger people and getting them involved in the game. And one of the things I always hear about baseball is that, I've loved baseball all my life. Mm-hmm. And then you get people like me who have not really been exposed to it. So I don't understand it the way people who have been exposed all their lives do. So something like that to me appeals to young kids as well. So
it's a much broader audience.
So it's a very broad audience. I love the tie-in with Norwich history. I actually lived in an old sea captain's house in Norwich over on Church Street. Those were all sea captain houses. Before they turned them into.
Would you rather go see the Navigators?
No.
Or the Sea Unicorns?
No, because Navigator sounds like I'm going to work. Or
to sea.
No, I don't know. Nurse Navigator is a thing, and I just don't want to go to work. I want to go and have fun. And now, just listening to you, I have a little time off coming up before my next gig. It sounds like something I want to do with Katie. Katie's going to a Red Sox game this year with her caregivers. But I want to take her and I want to have some fun and see some fireworks and do something like that. And I think that's an awesome thing to do with your family. Also affordability.
Yeah, well, there you go. That's exactly the caveat I was looking for right there, is that where can you go really today to get the affordability of a nice fun night out? I mean, what's the price of a ticket now, average?
For us?
Yes.
So our top ticket price in the seating bowl is $12.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, geez. $12?
That's it.
Yeah.
If you go at 10 o'clock in the morning to a local movie theater, you're going to pay that.
Yes.
You can't even get a chicken dinner for $12.
And the chairs are broken, and then you have to buy the $50 popcorn bucket, and they're always out of butter on it.
So now,
so $12. Okay, let's say. All right. Now, let's say it's Thursday night.
Mm-hmm.
All right. The kid's not going to get a beer, but
No, but a couple dollar dogs for that kid,
a couple of dollar dogs.
You know, a $3, $4 bottle of water or whatever it is. And I mean, we're still talking very affordable pricing.
Really, you can take a kid for under maybe about $40.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, maybe even a little less to go see a ball game and have fun. You know, and you know the kids, they're gonna be looking like, wow, because it's a big league. It's like a big league experience for the kid, you know, because it's a huge, beautiful field. You know, and the players all look like big leaguers and professional ball players, and for $40 or less,
I know
you could actually have a. I mean, where can you get that? You can't go to the movie theater.
My kid is up for any adventure. I'm telling you, I put her in the car and take her somewhere, and she is down for it. Katie, do you want to go watch the ferry or clean the horses' hooves? Yes. You know,
well, and here's what that $40 will get you at Fenway Park. Maybe a parking space.
Yeah, right.
Maybe.
There you go.
You're right.
Yeah, if you're not parking in them.
And they have actually the parking for Fenway is also in a resale venue now too. You can buy resale parking passes. Season pass holders sell their parking, which is insane.
Yeah.
So you know, so everything
comes with an NFT.
Yes.
A lot of your kids are going to be in college.
All of our kids will be college players the next year. Yes.
They get drafted into the farm league after that?
They could potentially if they're good enough. Now, one of the issues there is when Major League Baseball dropped 40 minor league teams, including us, after 2020's non-season due to COVID. They also cut back on the rounds in the draft. So years ago, the draft would go until every team decided to pass. And you might get guys like Mike Piazza drafted in the 61st round as a favor to Tommy Lasorda because Tommy Lasorda knew Mike Piazza's dad. And then Mike Piazza goes on to become a Hall of Fame player. Now there's only 20 rounds in the draft. So you're talking 20 rounds, 30 teams. I mean, I can't do the math that fast this early in the morning, but that's nowhere near as many players as used to get drafted. So now a lot of these guys actually have to hope to be able to also try to sign a free agent contract in order to get into professional baseball. So what Major League Baseball is really trying to do is have these collegiate summer leagues like ours start to be that first level of development now. So that, you know, and our league plays a lot more games than most of the college summer leagues. Cape Cod, which again is considered the best collegiate summer league in the country, they only play about 40 or so games. But a lot of those kids are coming off of a college season where they've already played 40, 50 games. We play 64 because we're getting a lot of kids that didn't play quite as many games so that they can get extra at-bats, extra innings, whatever it might be to help them get better for the following season. And I'll give you a perfect example of that too. So UConn's got a player named Corey Morton who played for us last summer. Last spring, he didn't get a whole lot of playing time at UConn and came to us, got quite a few at-bats. Decent season, nothing spectacular, but decent season. This year, he actually spent a lot of time as UConn's DH on a team that went to a super regional and was one win away from making it to Omaha for the College World Series.
Nice.
Wow. And that's what we're kind of trying to be, is that league and that team that develops those kind of kids who can then go back to college and have that really good next step for them.
Do they have to try out every year?
We actually do not have tryouts typically. So basically what it is our manager, Devin Bolensky, who is a volunteer assistant at Yale this past year, he went out and he recruited essentially. And so whether it's connections that he has with other coaches or whatever, or in a lot of cases, the coaches at the colleges will also reach out looking to place their players for the summer. So then you obviously rely on getting great information about, hey, this kid's pretty good, or this kid needs this for development, and does it fit our roster? And so we're just now actually probably today going to have what we hope is our roster for the rest of the year, because we've had to replace a couple kids that left for various reasons, whether it's injury or got another opportunity, decided not to play. And now we've brought in kids to replace them that we now hope this is our roster pretty much for the rest of the year.
Very, very cool. Now, is it true that one of the reasons why they cut out like the Connecticut Tigers, or that affiliation, less than 10% of the kids or the people that played in that league actually made it to a AAA level?
There's a lot of reasons that Major League Baseball wanted to do it.
I don't know how relevant that question really is, but
it helps people around here understand what's going on and why we're no longer affiliated and why we're in a college summer league. Now, Major League Baseball, of course, has been under a lot of pressure to pay the minor leaguers better salaries. and a lot of other things to try to improve the standards for those players. And Major League Baseball has also developed standards of their own for the stadiums, and not what the fan sees in the stadium, but what the players have to basically live in, whether it be the locker room or whatever else. And so by doing that and by streamlining it a little bit, they've basically, yes, they've eliminated jobs, which isn't the best thing in the world, but they're hoping that those steps will now allow them to take care of the players better as they're working their way up through the minor league system towards Major League Baseball. Did we think it was fair in our end? Absolutely not. But that's unfortunately what Major League Baseball wanted to do, and what Major League Baseball wants to do, they pretty much can because of the antitrust exemptions that they have over the past 100 years that Congress laid out long before any of us were walking this earth. And so there's not a whole lot that can be done about it at this point. And so we moved on, and I'm happy with where we're at. I think the league that we're in is a great league. We're in a league with 7 other teams that are very like-minded in terms of, treating it like a minor league baseball organization and playing in nicer stadiums than what a lot of other teams at this level play in. I mean, even Cape Cod, they're all high school type fields, and you mentioned the Schooners, and we'll get into it a little more later, but for the past 10 years, they played at Fitch High School in Groton. And so that's what a lot of these college summer teams play in. So for us, we look at it as a great opportunity to say, hey, we're not paying you to play here, but we're going to give you a great experience playing in an atmosphere that is a lot like minor league baseball.
Well, I'll tell you, from a fan's perspective, and I've talked to kids and their parents that have gone to Dodd or even Little League Night, or when the kids played about a couple months ago over there. You can say, we can talk about, well, the team's College Futures League, we're not affiliated with it. I don't think when you walk in the ballpark, you forget that. You forget any of that, and you just look. Have you ever just walked into somewhere, and all of a sudden you come under this thing, and all of a sudden it's all just in front of you? That's kind of like what Dodd Stadium is. It's like, you start to levitate a little bit because you don't expect it. You don't expect it, and you forget it. You forget everything about Major League Baseball or anything like that. You're there to see the sea unicorns.
You're in the moment.
You're in the moment, and it's right in our backyard.
Yeah.
Well, and speaking to that moment, I work there every day.
Yeah.
And it's still, for me, like,
for you too.
Oh my goodness, look at this, wide open baseball field with all these advertisements on the wall and this seating bowl, and it's not Fenway Park, but especially to a young kid, they don't care. They don't know.
Yeah,
they walk in and they see that big openness, and it's the same to them.
Yeah.
And again, for me, and I always tell people my office is better than your office. I mean, I pull down that driveway every day and I see that stadium, and it's like, where else would you want to work?
I used to have an office.
I think the fact that you have local kids.
It's not about you, Lisa. It's not about you.
I think the fact you have local kids playing too is going to be a huge draw for a lot of people.
Yeah, and that's the hope. I mean, the tough part about it is that, because they're college kids, we have to be careful about how we promote them, and the NCAA has now got all these new name, image, and likeness rules that everybody's still trying to sort through and see what's going to be okay and what isn't. So, we'll take this example of the Jaworski brothers again. Now, Hunter had played with us last year and signed with us very early again for this year, along with a couple other Mitchell kids. And, I would have loved to have immediately started promoting them. But then it becomes, okay, if they start asking for money back from us for using their likeness.
Mitchell or the kids?
The kids.
Okay.
Yeah, the kids. Where does that leave us? And we're still trying to sort through all of this, because one of the early things I had heard was that with these new name, image, and likeness rules, an athlete could get a sponsor, but it could not be within the sport that they play. So, for example, these Mitchell kids, if we were using them to promote our season, is it like a sponsorship? And if we're paying them, are they all of a sudden ineligible at Mitchell because they've gotten a sponsorship within the sport that they play? Those are all things that I need to look into and figure out exactly what we can do and what we can't do.
So you guys can't have a contract saying you don't get anything. You're volunteering. You're getting
Potentially,
Yeah.
potentially. But again, it's all stuff that I need to
Yeah.
really dive into deeper and figure out what's going to be okay and what isn't. And if I know that it's going to be okay to take the Jaworski brothers and say, hey, Eastern Connecticut, look, these local guys are playing for us this year. Come out and see them. And if I know that that's okay, then I'm going to start doing that kind of stuff, next year.
Yeah.
But
Why
until I
wouldn't
know
you?
for sure. Yeah. But until I know for sure, I don't want to take that chance because the last thing I want to do is have a kid lose his eligibility because I did something that I shouldn't have.
Yeah.
It's like Lisa. Whenever she shows up here, I have to pay her $3 because I use her likeness, and it's like, geez.
Yep. So contract negotiations with us are a little more awkward, though.
Yeah.
The negotiation couch is still a thing in radio.
We went to high school together. Just so you know, a little history between her and I.
Sure.
All right. I said no when she asked me to the prom. So just so you know.
I'm
And then she
gay
became a
now.
lesbian. Yeah. So there you go.
Where's the rest of the
story?
There's the rest of the story right there. So come on, Lee, now be honest with me. Be honest with me about something. You get the best office in the world.
So what do you guys have big coming up?
I was right in the middle of something. Hey, what do you got coming up?
Well, I figured he would want to say something. So.
I was trying to ask him a question. Do you ever take a blanket, little picnic basket, put out in center field, bring your wife out there?
Have not done that yet.
Oh, little vino.
Yeah.
I hear they do it on Thursday. I hear they got double dogs.
Yeah, right in the middle of the game, we'll put the picnic basket out in center field.
Look at her. She's like, oh my God. You haven't you thought of it? I would be all over
Have
that
I thought
stuff.
about it?
Yeah.
Yes. Have I done it? No.
I think you just reinvented the Adam Sandler
That's
Drew
exactly
Barrymore
what I-
rom-com.
That's exactly what I had in my head.
Yep.
Really?
Yeah.
Happy
All
Gilmore
right.
Productions
All right.
brings.
I'm just thinking that would be like romance 101 here.
Well, and even better, my wife's as big a baseball fan as I am.
Nice.
So,
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Or oh, that's another story.
Yeah, we're not going
I
anywhere
have
else with that
something for
one.
off air. But
We won't call it the bullpen. God, anyway. Let's talk about the Schooners for a minute.
Sure.
So not only do you have you house the Sea Unicorns, but the Schooners are there, and the Mystic Schooners, which is the New England Collegiate Baseball League.
Yes.
So now fans can enjoy two different leagues at Dodge Stadium. And this is the first time, is it not, that you've represented two leagues within the
is.
stadium?
Yes. So we've always, as an organization, since the Connecticut Tigers were born in 2010, rented out the facility, or in some cases donated the facility to some charitable events. But to allow other teams to play there, whether it be high school, NFA used it for a very long time. And
I've called Grizzled games there.
Yes. Yeah. And so, we like to have as many of the local schools play there as possible. This year, St. Thomas More Prep Schools played their entire home schedule there and hosted their league championship there. And several other schools did play there, even though NFA didn't come back. Now, I kept the high school schedule in the spring a little bit lighter this year, knowing that we were going to have 32 Sea Unicorns games, 22 Schooners games.
Home games.
Okay. The Northeast Conference tournament that we host every Memorial Day. And we had some Legion games lined up for the summer as well. So, from May 26th or so through August 5th, we were scheduled to have 60, 70 games played on the field. So
that's as many as any major league. I mean, they're what, 81?
81 home games. Yeah. And that's spread over a longer period of time because they're going from April through the end of September.
Right.
We were doing this in 3 months, basically. And so I didn't want the extra wear and tear from the spring. So I kept the high school schedule a little bit lighter than normal, but still wanted to get as many teams an opportunity to play there as possible, including, of course, the Little League game that you guys put on the stream. And then we're going to have a lot of travel ball tournaments, towards the end of August and through the fall. And so the field is going to get a lot of abuse this year. And so, getting back to your question about the Schooners and everything. Yeah. So for the first time ever, fans have an opportunity to support two different teams that are calling Dodge Stadium home, that are in really competing leagues to a certain degree. We all have the same common goal of developing college players to make them better for their next college season and hopefully to get drafted down the road. But our leagues definitely, like to butt heads a little bit too. And there was a little bit of consternation when it was first announced, why are you helping the other league, or why are you helping a team in a different league, or this, that, or the other? And I just said, listen, we're all about having good baseball in Eastern Connecticut. And this team was looking to upgrade their facility. No knock on Fitch High School, but it's a high school. It doesn't have locker rooms for the players. It didn't have true concessions for the fans. They were using porta potties for bathrooms. This was an opportunity for the Schooners, who have had a lot of success in the New England Collegiate Baseball League over the last 10 years, to upgrade their facility to try draw more of a crowd for themselves. And it helps us out too, because we're operating concessions and we're just sharing in this space and just helping the fans have one place that they can go for this entertaining baseball that is, again, pretty much minor league baseball, just the players don't get paid.
Yeah. I just think it's a blast. It's just a blast. So what happens at the end of the season when baseball's all said and done? Does Lee go on vacation?
Lee is definitely going to need a vacation this year. Lee is currently in a stretch of the.
Sorry about the flies. I don't know.
It's okay. I just don't want to swallow it while I'm talking. Lee is in a stretch that, except for the night that he needed off, missing a game for his son's graduation and missing this Saturday's game for his stepson's wedding, Lee will be at Dodd Stadium probably 7 days a week for about 2 months straight. So Lee is definitely going to need a vacation come August.
Absolutely.
You may be suitable for a career in nursing during the off season.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I see what my wife goes through with her respiratory therapist job, and I just don't know if I could handle it.
I figure if you've had, dollar beer night, you've probably been exposed to vomit. So
we have, but not from dollar beer night.
Okay.
Last year we had a young fan who, I don't know what happened, but let's just say it was some of the worst vomit I've ever seen. And I was the one cleaning most of it up, and it almost made me vomit. So no, I don't think nursing is for me.
No. Dollar beer night would be Altones.
Oh, that's but
yeah.
But they're jacking up the price by 95% on that beer. We've all had nickel beers at Altones at one time or another. So Minarski, you and I are going to have to go. Not that either one of us would ever save any money on a dollar beer night, since either I don't drink at all and you drink
next to nothing,
only slightly more than I do.
But I eat a lot of freaking hot dogs.
But I can vouch for the fact that we're probably going to have to bring a fistful of 20s for our dollar dog night.
Oh, so. That's fun. How about you? I mean, you're not really a baseball fan, are you?
No, I like baseball.
Okay, whatever. But Lisa, you.
I used to play baseball. I like baseball.
Did you?
Yeah.
Did you play baseball?
Yeah, I started my freshman year in high school. I was played Little League my whole life, but I just got into all the other stuff and just kind of put that to the wayside a little bit.
I'm shaped like a baseball.
There you go. Me too. So I didn't realize there was maybe a little gnashing between the leagues or anything. I mean, that's pretty cool that you're able to go ahead and still house them both.
Yeah, I mean, we just explained to my league especially, because obviously it's our home facility. But, I just told our league that there wouldn't be any kind of conflict of interest. And that was their main concern. They asked if I was worried about them stealing our fans. And I said, heck, the more people in the stadium, the better. And they asked about scheduling. And I said, listen, they understand that we get priority because it's our home stadium and they have to work around us a little bit. And, that unfortunately did lead to the Schooners having to play quite a few noontime games during the week, where it's going to limit their ability to draw a lot of fans. But it's a learning experience for both sides. And, if this goes well and we develop this partnership moving forward, then we'll find ways to make it so that the schedule is a little more conducive to nobody having to play a 12 o'clock game on a Thursday afternoon, and everybody can play the night games like they want to.
So again, because we're going to wrap it up in a couple of seconds here, what's going on this week? What's going on next week at Dodd Stadium, and what can people expect?
Yeah, so this week we are actually the next 2 weeks very full of games. So the Schooners will be home tonight and tomorrow night, and then play at 12 noon on Thursday. We are home again Thursday night for Thirsty Thursday beer specials and Dollar Dog Night. Friday night, First Responders Night, following the game with fireworks. Saturday, we are hoping to have our giveaway item in and be able to give that to everybody. Sunday afternoon, the Schooners have a doubleheader starting at 3 o'clock. Monday is a off day, thankfully. But for those that have young kids in the area, our baseball clinic starts on Monday, and there's still time to register. The clinics run Monday through Thursday next week, and you can reach out to our front office for more information on that. And then next Tuesday through Sunday, we're back at it again. I don't remember exactly who's home which days, but every night next week there's a game as well. And, that leads us into the 4th of July weekend, actually, too, where I know for sure that we are home on both Friday and Saturday, the 1st and the 2nd, where we'll have fireworks after both of those games. Sunday afternoon, the Schooners are home, and then we're home on Monday, the 4th of July. Unfortunately, we couldn't do fireworks like we had planned that night, so instead we are going to play at 1 o'clock. And for the first time ever, we are going to open up the barbecue pavilion to individual ticket sales for the first 350 people that are interested in that, and enjoy that Monday afternoon game, and then be able to go find fireworks somewhere else that night. So real busy next couple of weeks at Dodd Stadium for sure.
Options. So I think it's cool. I mean, I'm doing Tuesdays, with the Sea Unicorns here on SNSN. So last week, the Jaworski brothers, yourself here. Hopefully, damn flies, man! I'm telling you, I know there's 2 of them.
What if I brought them in with me?
The flies?
And what if they leave when I leave? What if these flies are mine?
Then she may not be back, right?
Yeah.
You might not ask her back.
It totally threw me off my game here. What I was gonna say. What was I saying?
Well, we were talking about the Sea Unicorns being here on
Tuesday. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So are we going to be able to get a couple more players this coming Tuesday next week?
Yeah, it'll either be players or our coaching staff. But yes,
Cool.
I've talked to our manager, Devin Walensky, and he's going to work out a schedule to try to have somebody here pretty much every Tuesday. I think looking at the schedule, there's just one other Tuesday where we play an early game on the road. So if we cannot get somebody here, maybe I'll come back and do kind of a, finishing up what the schedule's like and what have you. But yeah, we'll definitely look to get some people here on Tuesdays.
What's the farthest you guys travel?
Burlington, Vermont, actually. So our league has 8 teams. New Britain, which is great to be back in a league with them because, everybody remembers the old Navigators, Rock Cats days. And getting back to that logo thing, we were talking about the Navigators a little bit earlier. The Navigators and the Rock Cats in 1995 were actually a little bit ahead of the time because most teams back then were still using their affiliated team name. And they went out and got these different names with funky logos. And that's kind of what started this boom
like
towards
the Paw Sox
ultimately
kinda,
getting.
right?
Yeah. And but even the Paw Sox, they were using the Red Sox name. They just had the polar bear foot logo. And interesting that they had that in Pawtucket because of the paw. And yet now they're playing at Polar Park and they're no longer using the polar bear as part of their mascot. But anyway, but yeah, it's just a lot of fun. It's so much fun to be part of this. And thank you guys for having me out to talk about Sea Unicorns baseball and life at Dodd Stadium. And we'll definitely try to keep it going throughout the rest of the season.
I'm going to a game with
Yeah,
Katie. I think she's going to
you
love
can't
it.
lose. You can't lose. It's just if even if you don't even have to be a baseball fan.
Yeah.
You don't even have to. I mean,
I spent more money on that god-awful Sonic the Hedgehog movie. So, my bet's on baseball this year.
Speaking of bad movies, last night on my rare day off, I had one of my kids over my house. And
damn fly is like just circulating like your head like Saturn.
It likes me right now.
I mean, it's like crazy.
But talk about bad movies. We watched the Cat in the Hat movie from 2003 last night. And it was horrendous.
Yeah.
Oh man,
That's not a good movie.
No.
That was like
Mike Myers, I'm sorry.
so bad. So bad.
Thank you very much for coming on up, Lee. I appreciate it.
I appreciate you guys having me on. Thank you.
So it's Lee Walter, the general manager from the Norwich Sea Unicorns. Check them out online. You can see all the specials that they got going on and all the fun. Just check it out. And talk about affordable nights out for the family. You can't. How can you beat it?
I'm looking for a job, by the way.
Okay.
Call me.
Good.
Yeah. Dollar Dog Night should be good. All right. Rich, thanks for coming on in.
My pleasure, bud.
All right. We will see you once again tomorrow morning. Lisa, boy, wow, you did radio today. Haven't seen you in a while.
I did radio.
God. We'll be back tomorrow morning with Paul Ash right here on SNSN. Have a good day, everyone.
The Burns agency knows your insurance needs can change with